How to determine whether your condo building is well managed. Hey folks, my name is Chris at Hauseit. Today we're going to talk about this interesting topic that buyers often ask. It's extremely critical to make this evaluation and to ask this question before you purchase a condo, especially during the inspection period, once you already have a signed contract and you have, say, 15 days to make a decision on due diligence and whether you want to proceed or renegotiate or back out. So how can you determine whether the condo board is competent? I mean, this is extremely hard to tell, I would say, especially from the outside, especially since so much of it is subjective. Sure, in some cities and locales, like for example New York City, it's customary for the buyer to request the condo or co-op board meeting minutes. Oftentimes it's the buyer's attorney who then makes an appointment at the managing agent's office to review those minutes in person because they're confidential and can't usually, for some reason, they refuse to email it still these days. So, if you're a buyer, you can of course also go with your attorney, and that's actually recommended if you have the time to review those minutes yourself to see what they say. But even if you have the ability to do that, and you won't in all locales, for example, in South Florida, Miami, it's not common to offer the ability to view the board meeting minutes to any prospective buyers. It's just not common. But let's say even you had that ability, it's still not going to really help you answer that question that much, because oftentimes these board meeting minutes are very succinct. I've seen board meeting minutes where they're a few bullet points or almost nothing at all, so it doesn't really provide too much. And it's the boards usually the secretary preparing these minutes, or maybe the managing agent, and they're careful to not oftentimes put too much unnecessarily out there. So you can't really glean as much information as you might think from just these board meeting minutes. Of course, in some locales like New York, the attorney will, for example, send in a questionnaire to the managing agent. You might glean some information from there. You have the condo financials, so the 2-year audited financials, which is pretty typical in both South Florida and New York. So at least you can see the building's finances. If you're lucky, maybe you can get the budget for the upcoming year, see how they're doing. So that can help. Another maybe higher level tactic you could do is you can ask just the seller or the managing agent, ideally, to provide you the actual common charges paid by the unit for the consecutive, say, 5 years. And you can see, has it increased by the rate of inflation? Has it not increased at all, which would be amazing? Or has it increased with, double-digit increases, percent increases every year, 10, 15% increase every year? Perhaps that's an issue. I mean, that's one of the biggest, I'd say, red flags to watch out for, because, why is this building increasing its common charges every year? Where's that money going? How is it being used? I mean, worst case scenario is the money being embezzled somehow or being kicked back. So these are all things to watch out for. So, the short answer is it is hard to find out from an outside perspective, but, if you really wanted to, I would say, get the best perspective or insight into this, is to either spend some time in the building, perhaps as a tenant yourself, to rent first and get to know some of the folks in the building and get more of an insider perspective. Of course, this is not plausible for most, but the second best, I would say, in our experience, is if you have a friend who lives in the building who can give you some insight into how the board is. Again, this is all subjective, so if you have a friend that you feel that you can rely on, is quite trustworthy, is competent themselves, and they've sat in on various board meetings and such, and listened in and done their own diligence on how the building is, and they've seen how it works, and you visited them and you see it as well, and how things are run. Well, I'd say that's one of the best shots to sort of get an insight into how the board and how the building is managed, because sure, the building management can be a professional third-party entity. Oftentimes they're quite good. Again, the quality can vary as well, but the board is entirely random. You hope that it's competent people that have been voted on, but we've seen buildings where no one bothers to participate. Voter participation is so low that whoever wants to be on the board is on the board, and you hope to God that it's well managed. So those are the tips. Given how subjective the nature of this is, the best thing you can do, I would say, is to try to get an inside view in it, and either spend some time in the building yourself, Ask a friend who actually lives there, who owns in the building and attends the board meetings. Ask them, hey, are the board members, do they know what they're talking about? How long have they been doing this? What are their backgrounds? Do they seem to be like on top of it and present? And oftentimes the answer is strongly one way or the other. So that's a great way to sort of gauge that sort of very highly variable risk. And then regarding the management company, fortunately, that's a little bit easier in the sense that you have some more direct interaction with them as a prospective buyer, because you'll be interacting with them, asking for financials and such, maybe any sort of application you might need. And oftentimes, for example, in South Florida, condo buildings are several hundred units sometimes. They'll often have, almost always, the management office dedicated for that building in the building. So you can always stop in there and introduce yourself and say hi as well, just to get a sense of who folks are. So remember, this is highly subjective. This is something that you have to figure out for yourself. Of course, there's no right or easy answer for this. There are some high-level things from the financials perspective that you can take a look at, as we've suggested. But so much of it is more of an art than a science. So there you have it. If you have any other questions, please leave us a comment below. If you're looking to buy or sell, we can help you save up to 6% with our agent-assisted FSBO listing service. And if you want something a bit more hands-on, we have a 1% for full service listing option where one of our agents handles everything for you. And of course, if you're looking to buy, we can help you save 2% or more with our Hauseit buyer closing credit, where our buyer's broker gives you 2/3 of the commission they earn from the listing, subject to us keeping a minimum of 1%. Of course, it doesn't cost you anything, but the commission rebate that we give you will usually more than cover your closing costs here in South Florida, for example, because 2/3 of the buyer agent commission can be quite substantial. Many new construction projects here offer 5%, 6%, 7%, more than the usual 3% to buyer's agents. So 2/3 of that can be a heck of a lot of money. So we cover all of Southeast Florida, Miami-Dade County, where we're headquartered, Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. And in New York, we cover all 5 boroughs of New York City, Long Island, and the Hudson Valley. My name is Chris at Hauseit, and we'll see you on the next one.